Okay, are you ready? Okay, my name is Christy Sentai. Brad Groves was my partner for over 10 years. We share a beautiful 4-year-old son named Marco together, and he died of a heroin overdose.
Larry was, she was a mini-me. She had a laugh that people could hear down at the end of my street. She was brilliant. She graduated high school when she was 16 with an advanced Regents diploma and college credits.
Steven's the youngest. You know, he's baby of the family. Always got spoiled. Always was that traditional mama's boy. Growing up, loved all sports. You know, took a particular interest in basketball.
Jeff was my oldest son, and I had him at a very, very, very young age. I was 16 when I had him. So sometimes I say we kind of grew up together.
We met in my father's restaurant about 10 years ago, and he was a chef there and a cook there, and he kissed me one night, and the next day I'm like, let's just forget about that kiss. And he's like, what if I don't want to forget about it? And then that's how our relationship started.
My daughter Summer was beautiful inside and out. She didn't always see that. She was loving, caring, stubborn, and full of life. Full of life. She was a mother of 3 young boys. I'm Kristen.
My name is Nick.
My name is Patty Farrell.
My name is Alexis Plus, and I'm the mother of 3 incredible sons. And my oldest son is Jeff Dugan, and I lost him August 5th, 2014, and he was only 28 years old, and I lost him to a heroin overdose.
I lost my youngest brother, Steven, to a heroin overdose, and I'm doing this and speaking out to help others.
My daughter's name is Larry Farrell Lincoln. She was 18 years old, and she died of a heroin overdose 5 days before she would have turned 19 years old.
I'm Summer Smith's mom. My daughter was 31 years old when she lost her life to the disease of addiction. She died on January 9th, 2015, and she was a loving mother of 3 young boys.
She loved life, she loved her friends. She was very artistic. I got a lot of artwork framed at my house.
Really liked to fish. I think he actually found it pretty therapeutic, pretty relaxing. You know, kept to himself. He liked his peace and quiet, but he also liked being the life of the party when he was around his friends, and in that sense was a social butterfly.
He was really charismatic, like people were drawn to him all the time.
Funny, personality plus, hundreds of friends. Her family and her friends were her priority.
And always got along with everybody, didn't really have any enemies, and good kid.
He really loved his family. He was kind of family obsessed almost, like he loved being a brother. He loved his mom. He loved his grandmother. Like he was very much a family kid, and so yeah, that's about him.
And she started going out with this boy who was a heroin addict, but he was clean. And he kept telling her he wanted to use, and she couldn't understand why someone could want that drug so bad. She just couldn't understand it. So she decided that she wanted to try it because she wanted to understand how he was having such a hard time staying away from it. So she went to another boy that she knew, and he told her, yeah, no problem, you know, don't worry about it, you won't get addicted the first time. And blah, blah, blah. And, well, lo and behold, she did.
He was a senior at SUNY Oswego, was set to graduate a week after he had passed away. You know, he had gotten into some trouble before. Never did we think it was at this level.
He became addicted to painkillers when he was a junior in high school. And it was due to a knee injury, and he had a surgery, and he was prescribed OxyContin.
He started experimenting in January that year, and you know, continued to get into a little bit of trouble out at school. His grades continued to, you know, remain pretty steady, pretty okay.
And this was a long time ago. It was 2003 to 4. No one was really talking about this then at all. So I didn't feel there was any risk. I didn't know at all.
She was only using about a week, and she came to me and said, Mom, I need your help. I'm sick. She said she felt like she had snakes crawling through her body. She felt disgusting. She hated herself. She needed my help.
I can even remember, like, if he was complaining about pain, that I would say, did you take a pain pill? And now I feel so terrible about that because I feel like in a way I contributed, but unknowing. And I remember also one time we went to the doctor's and we were on our way home, and he said, Mom, I think I'm starting to like those pain pills a little too much, which meant nothing to me at the time. And so I just said, well, then you should stop taking them. It was that simple to me. And I didn't know that it would be hard for him to stop. And I didn't take them away from him or anything. And so apparently he continued with them, but he finished high school successfully. He wrestled and played football in college. So he was an incredible athlete.
But I think really what hit my brother was he was living off campus at the time, and this is mid-April, and this individual who we had become friends with, he passed away from an overdose. My brother was actually the person who found him. So I think that really wore on him quite a bit. And, you know, my father, you know, was checking in on him. My parents, where I was, I mean, the whole family was just checking in on him just to make sure that he was doing okay.
He graduated and got a job and moved out of home. Like, everything that he did was the natural progression of what you hope for your kid. So I saw no warning signs whatsoever that there was a problem that entire time.
I'll never forget the day that I got the phone call from a friend of hers saying to me, do you know that Summer has a problem with heroin? And the floor crashed out beneath me. The world that I knew to that moment, to that day, changed. And Summer's battle began for the next 12 years of her life.
You know, we think obviously he took it pretty tough. It's obviously pretty devastating, you know, to be the individual to find one of your friends dead. I think he took it pretty rough. We were all checking in on him. You know, I remember a Friday night before my brother passed, my parents were texting him. He was actually texting my mother right up until about 9 o'clock that night, just talking about coming out to see him for graduation, things like that, just checking in to make sure he's okay, said if you need anything, call. And then, you know, that's early Saturday morning, about 5:30, state troopers knocked on my parents' door and delivered the news that my brother had passed away from a heroin overdose.
And 7 years after he graduated high school, I got a phone call that he had been arrested for burglarizing houses. And I was just blown away. It didn't make sense. When I went to meet with him and the public defender, I was proclaiming his innocence because I just couldn't believe that it was my own kid that would do that. And the public defender said, well, a lot of things that heroin addicts do don't make sense. And that was my announcement that he was addicted to heroin. And I didn't even know what that meant at that moment still. The next 3 years were just, you know, everything changed.
Put all the weeds in the garbage cans. And we put them out in the garbage.
I I could tell when he was using. I feel like I became like the drug detector. Like I fought with him. I knew he was using heroin again, and when he wasn't using it, the days he was good, the days he was bad. But, you know, he lost like his lackluster for life. He got, you know, he didn't enjoy the things he used to enjoy, like cooking or karate or even hanging out with us. Everything became such a burden for him. So that was really when I knew that he was using again. And
when he would start using again, he would just avoid his family, and he would kind of retreat and just not come around.
a lot of times he made me feel like I was crazy and, you know, manipulate me and say that he wasn't using, money missing, him being gone for hours at a time.
I didn't understand how hard it was for him to overcome. So like one time he got 3 weeks of inpatient treatment. So I thought that was pretty good and that was gonna put him ahead of the game. And he got out and we helped him get an apartment, and then he started using within a month. And I remember I was so mad at him and, you know, said, I was sympathetic to your addiction while you were in addiction, I get it. But then you had treatment and you were, you know, had over a month sober. Once you reused, that was your choice. And now I know how wrong I was. So I feel sad that I ever added to his shame, you know, yeah.
Short-term treatment, long-term treatment, inpatient, outpatient, medication-assisted treatment, drug court, the church, just stopping, talking to friends, everything that you could think of, Summer tried. Summer wanted to be sober. After she passed away, I found her Bible, and it had words written in it that Summer actually wrote herself in her own handwriting a prayer, begging God to free her from the bonds of addiction, asking him to help her break free from this prison, she called it. Every effort, every ounce of trying Summer put into it. I think a lot of people have a hard time because they really view it as a choice. There's a lot of stigma that becomes attached with that, and there are some choices along the way, but just like any other chronic health disease, this is a disease.
And you hate the disease, not the person with the disease. And Brad was so much more than his addiction. He was an amazing father, an amazing son, and when he wasn't using, he was amazing to me. It wasn't who he was.
There's a lot of misconceptions about this, and I think many families, parents, siblings, other loved ones, they have a lot of misconceptions about, well, it's not going to happen to me, it's not going to happen to my family, it would never happen. At first, there's always going to be that period of denial. There's no way it could have been this, there's no way it could have been that. You know, Stephen would never do that.
Because it was an overdose, people make a lot of assumptions about your loved one, and I really felt like people were devaluing his life, which made me so angry. Like, his loss wasn't as meaningful because he chose this, or, you know, he used a drug, and so it was like if he died in a car accident, they would have been sorrier. That caused me to want to work on the stigma that both my son faced in his own addiction, but then also in what families face when their loved one is either addicted or they lose them to an overdose. That I don't want families to feel that shame and judgment that I felt.
I've learned so much about the addiction, and when she was using, I didn't realize there was Narcan. I didn't know there was Vivitrol. I didn't know a lot of things until after she passed, and I started doing homework, which I kind of kicked myself for because I did my homework after the fact. But I seriously didn't know that it was that bad.
I learned, like, as families go through it, you do become addicted to the addiction. You do worry day and night. I guess I learned too, like, there's not a lot you can do. It's all up to them. You know, I felt a lot of guilt. Like, I took away his car, I took away his phone, I wouldn't give him a paycheck. So when he passed away, it's like, why wasn't I enough? Why weren't Marco and I aren't enough? And you have to learn that we were enough, just the disease was too powerful.
It's really important, particularly for funeral directors, funeral homes, to kind of shepherd the family along in the day-to-day steps, and just be comforting about it, and just say, we're here to help you. Just constantly remind them that, we're here to help you. Everything's going to go, very, very smoothly. Whatever you need, we'll take care of. That's what they're looking for, guidance.
I think I would like the funeral directors to acknowledge that there's not a stigma with passing away from an overdose. Maybe just acknowledging it and not trying to hiding the issue.
When somebody older in your family dies, it's one of those things that you'll hear people say, like, well, we need to respect their wishes. You don't know what your kids' wishes are. And so, you just have to hope that you're figuring it out and doing it the way that they would want you to do it. And it's so important, when you're laying someone to rest, to honor them in their way, but you like taking a stab at it. You don't really know what they would have wanted.
For me, this was Summer's wedding. This was Summer's everything that I wasn't going to be able to have, and I needed to do honor by my child. I took it as a compliment. We kind of laugh about strange things in our family when somebody said, how'd you, manage to put together such a beautiful ceremony in such a short period of time? But I would wake up with my husband and just think of what music can I honor? What words can I say?
Personally, I lost the love of my life. I lost the best thing that ever happened to me. I was never an emotional person. I was kind of always a hard ass. Losing her just made me look at things so differently. It made me look at life differently. It's so precious, and you don't know when it's over.
I was just blown away at the unexpected moments that the grief would hit me. Not when I would think, but in those moments when I thought I was totally going to be just fine, I was knocked to my knees.
Because he was all day, every day for me. We lived together, we worked together, we raised our son together. He was there from day one when my son was born, our son. And my son had health issues. He was rushed to Albany Med. He had open heart surgery within 10 days. And Brad and I really were there day and night for him. Probably the first 3 years of his life, he was in Albany Med on and off. And then what's also really difficult is, I just need a moment, is to know my son's not gonna have a father. Because he was a really good dad to him, and he really loved him and cherished him. And I think Brad hated his addiction so much because he wanted to be the father he should have been. So that's what's really hard.
He was like my cheerleader in life, and people say like he adored his mom. Like he just thought I was just the greatest thing. Anything that I was doing, like if I was doing an art project, he would brag to people about, look what my mom did, and so I find great comfort in knowing that helping other people with their addictions. Jeff would love this. Jeff would be so proud. He would be like, look at my mom, like my mom's doing this, and my mom is knocking down doors, and she's getting people to change laws, and he would be so proud of that. So that's my biggest source of strength and healing, is helping other people.
I'm a completely different person. I'm a completely different person now. I'm better than I was when I lost her, because it's 4 years, 5 months. So I'm better now than when I lost her, but it still hurts all the time. But I'm a different person. I'm a completely different person. Life's precious. Life is precious, and people that have to deal with people like me, need to realize that you lost the most important thing in your life.
These are really, really bad things happening to really, really, really good people. And some people that have been, struggling with an illness or addiction for a long time, or people who, perhaps are experimenting but unfortunately got a lethal dose of fentanyl. This can happen to anybody. It happened to my family. It's happened to many other families that I know, young and old, male, female. different backgrounds, different ethnicity. This touches every single cross-section of our society, and it's important that we come together and understand that people are not alone. It's okay to talk about. We're here to support one another. And that's how we're going to, not only continue to build strength after a tragedy like this, but just continue to move on with our lives, because obviously that's very difficult to do, but numbers and strength, and if you can get through this with other people, I think you're better off.